Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for jumping on tonight. For those that don't know me, my name is Kira. I'm an online wellness coach and mentor. I've been working with Harley for the last few weeks. I do recognize quite a few of you, but there's a few new faces as well. Hello, iPhone. I'm away having trouble hearing you. Oh, good. Thank you so much. It does say iPhone, it doesn't say who you are. If you can let me know who you are. And if you do have any questions throughout this call tonight, just pop them in the chat section and I'll get back to them throughout or at the end. But tonight, what we're going to chat about is creating new habits. So I know that some of you have been doing this only for a couple of weeks and some of you have been working with Harley for like a couple of months. And for some of you, you may know some of this, you may have implemented some of these tips and tricks and techniques into your current lifestyle. And some of you, this may be completely new, like creating new habits for you and having a shift in your lifestyle and making change may be really new to you. Whichever area you're in, I really do feel and I do hope that you will be able to learn some new tips and tricks that you can implement in your life. I know when I was kind of planning for this call, it was a real good reminder for me, because we are all human beings. We're adaptable, we adapt to things, sometimes good, sometimes bad. And being human beings, we like to be safe, we love to be comfortable, we like to be cozy, and we don't like to get uncomfortable. So I wanted to start off by saying, wouldn't it be nice if everything was on autopilot, right? Like getting up early, exercising, eating healthy, etc. Wouldn't it be nice if it all happened automatically? It would. But unfortunately, being human beings and not robots, that's just not the case. So what we're going to do tonight is I'm going to help you with this, to not be too hard on yourself, but to be able to create these new habits and have this new lifestyle and be able to maintain this long term. Because if we're aware of our current habits and behaviors, then we're able to program new ones. And just before I do go on, I can see Lisa, she's saying that she can't hear anything. Can everyone hear me okay? Can you give me a thumbs up? Can we hear? We're okay. I can hear. Lisa, maybe you may need to just press start audio, hun. I'm not too sure. Let me know how you're going. And hopefully you can hear, because everyone else is saying they can hear. Okay, so moving on. So with creating new habits, with a small amount of discipline, you can create a new habit. It just requires a little bit of effort to be able to maintain. So today I'm going to share with you a few tips and tricks on how to create a new habit. And I hope it's not too windy. I've got a fan going. Is it too windy or is it okay? We're okay? Let me know.
That's all good.
It's all good? Okay, awesome. Who have we got there? That's awesome. Let's see. Thank you. It's so interesting not having Harley on here as well. It's all of us girls. It's good though. Alrighty. So I'm sure we've all heard as well. Who here has heard it takes 21 days to create a new habit? Have we all heard that before? We've heard that? Yeah. So I don't know how true that is. I'm not sure if you have said, yep, I'm going to do something for 21 days and if you've actually stuck to it for 21 days. I know being human beings, life happens. I think if we were to stick at something flat out for 21 days, yeah, sure. I think that we could create a new habit. But making a complete change and shift in our lifestyle, I think, I expect that there's going to be some bumps along the way. I just expect that's going to happen. I know life gets in the way. So I'm going to attach this in the recording so that you can all see these tips and tricks so that you can be reminded of them when, you are creating these new habits. But I'm going to go through some of them tonight. And so number one is about being consistent. Now, I know that may sound like, yes, of course, being consistent, but for some reason, it's really something that a lot of us and a lot of human beings really do struggle with. Okay, so, but number one is being consistent and making your new habit daily. So consistency, it is critical if you want to make a new habit stick. So if you want to start exercising at the beginning of the week, or the beginning of creating this new habit, commit to a realistic amount of days per week and put those actions into place to make it happen. So for example, and like I'm sure some of you women are, you do, whether it's your walks or you're getting in the gym or you're doing a class, whatever it is, commit to a specific amount of days per week. So for example, you could commit to 3 to 4 days per week. Then you pick those days, you choose the time, you set your alarm, and you get up and go and you do this. You do this consistently. And then this is going to create a new habit. So if you're someone that hasn't exercised before, even if you commit to 1 to 2 days, and that leads me on to number 2, which is like start small, start simple. And that's what I love about Harley's approach is, we don't need to overcomplicate things. Creating a new happy and healthy lifestyle, it's actually not complicated. There's just so much information out there. Let's just go back to basics. So number 2 is keep it simple and start small. So don't try and overcomplicate this. I know in the beginning of, a shift in your lifestyle, it is easy to get over motivated and to take on too much. And like my first point, which is just be realistic with yourself and your goals. So I feel like I've just been like word vomiting on you all at this point in time. So I would love for someone to, if they can unmute themselves or type in the chat section for me and let me know like a new habit that you've started or you're struggling with or you're doing well at. Can someone volunteer or I'll pick someone? Let's see. What about you, Jody?
Sorry, my husband is in here making little smart comments and distracting me. Go away. For me, I'm doing okay with getting up in the mornings. That's a really good new habit for me, something I've struggled with for years. Yeah. But I suppose that I'm having trouble with is work stress and turning to chocolate as a reaction to work. I've been pretty good 90% of the time, but I usually find on a Wednesday, particularly if I've had a real crappy couple of days at work, afternoon, that was it. Just turn to the old habit, chocolate for comfort. And I really want to break that habit because I feel like crap now.
Yeah.
I feel like I've undone all of my good work.
Okay. So is a Wednesday like a traditional binge? Like what are we talking on this Wednesday chocolate night?
Oh, it used to be daily. Daily. So I've, that's really, really good. I'm now only, probably 1 day a week as opposed to 7 days a week. Yeah. Into the chocky. But I don't know whether it's hump day or it's just, I think it's just been a pretty and I caved this afternoon and now, I'm like, oh, Jode, and I'm like, well, don't beat yourself up. At least you're not doing it every day. But, it's a habit.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And can anybody else relate? Is anyone else here on the line get a raise of hands of anyone who can relate that, that you have this kind of habit that's happened over the years or stress and work makes them want to do that? Because I know that I've certainly been there. And I think it's really, really good, Jody, how you were looking at the positives there, saying it's, it's not every day now. It's once a week or something. For me, like I love chocolate and I have a really healthy, balanced diet. I know if I bought a family block of chocolate and I was stressed, I would eat the whole thing. So what I would do is I wouldn't buy a family block of chocolate because then I can't eat it. So I think bringing like temptation into the house, that can be kind of like a, bit of a danger zone. So I think it's really great that you've got the self-awareness, like, what triggers you, what you want, etc. You've already made an improvement to bring it down from 7 days to 1 day. and it's not bad to have a little bit of chocolate. I am all about balance and having everything in moderation. I personally wouldn't recommend.
It wasn't a little.
Okay, how much we're talking? No judgment here. But just
well, we've got a fridge. We've got a fridge at work, and it's like $1 a chocolate bar, and it's full of chocolates and soft drink, and it's right near my house. So I had 2 50-gram bars today. I just, I had one and went, not enough, need another one, which I was just, afterwards I just felt like crap. I was like, oh, what did you do? It was like 2 seconds of, okay, that was really nice. And then hours of guilt afterwards.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you said that, because
it's the chocolate.
That's the chocolate. Yeah. So I'm so glad that you mentioned that, that 5 seconds of satisfaction, because I'm actually going to mention that a little bit further on. So when, next week, when it gets to hump day, or, another day during the week when you're feeling a bit stressed, I'd love for you to remind yourself of how you feel afterwards, because I'm not sure what you're trying to achieve, with working with Harley, but I'm sure it's about in some way getting happier and healthier. So I'd love for you to remind yourself that, the pain of waking up every day feeling not satisfied and unhappy with the way that you feel and look, that pain far outweighs the pain or anything of eating that bit of chocolate in that 5 seconds. Like that pain is so much, and that guilt that you feel straight after that is so much worse. And like I said, I'm all about moderation, and I think that you should have a bit of chocolate. We're here to enjoy life. And what I would recommend next week is being self-aware of, what's about to happen, and just saying, what, I'm going to have a bar of chocolate. Yeah, I am. And I'm going to enjoy it. Maybe I'm going to have half now, and I'm going to have half later on during the day. I don't know, that might sound weird, but that might be just a little strategy that you can do for yourself, that's just going to help you get closer to your goals, because you don't want to feel guilty afterwards. Like, you don't want to have to go through that shit. Like, you can enjoy it, and you don't need to go overboard. But I'm so proud of you for being self-aware. Like, what's going on, and like Harley said, it's that emotional eating. But you're totally aware. You're switched on. You know what's going on. Don't be hard on yourself now. Tomorrow's a new day, and just do better tomorrow. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing.
That's right, Jody. Emotional eating, it is hard. Sorry, Kira, I just cut you off. You go.
No, you go on.
Yeah. So sorry I'm late. I was our plane was delayed 5 hours, and
that's all right, buddy.
Stuck in traffic in Sydney trying to get to Erina. But anyway, emotional eating. So pretty much it's stress eating, and what it is, we use food to make ourselves feel better, right? And what we're doing is there's a need, have an emotional need, Jody. Now you get triggered, right? And we all get triggered, and triggers can be stuff from stress. It can be a crappy day at work, tired, can be the kids. We have a whole range of triggers, right? We could be feeling down. So what we do is we understand there's feel better, and it's an emotional need. So we start to stress eat. We start to emotional eat. Now, this isn't a bad thing, right? Because, you can use food as a pick me up. I fuel myself every day for a pick me up, but I've gone from doing it from sweet things to doing it from things that make me feel good after I consume them, right? Because I understand now that there are triggers in my stress, whether it's, exhaustion, and I understand that I am going to look for sweet food because I've got a big sweet tooth. But then I also understand how that feels. And by recognizing the trigger that sets me off, I'm then able to go, all right, well, I'm allowed to reward myself with a couple of pieces of chocolate. Problems with that, but I'm going to have a couple pieces of chocolate and I'm going to have a protein shake, or I'm going to have a couple of pieces of chocolate and I'm going to have some peanut butter and rice crackers. Or what I do is rice crackers and drink the shake first, or I drink my water, and then I have the sweet food after it. So by then you're kind of content, but you have leptin and ghrelin. And the difference between emotional eating and actually eating because you're hungry is that your leptin levels might be signaling that you need food, but your ghrelin, which is what actually controls your hunger in your intestine, isn't. So therefore, there's a bit of a difference between emotional eating and actually being hungry. So, you can still reward yourself, and you don't have to feel powerless over food and your feelings. You do have power, you do have control. It's about recognizing those triggers, and then once you recognize those triggers, I honestly believe that you'll be able to control that. All right, do things that make you feel good. Recognize that. All right, how is this going to make me feel? Often, what happens is still, but anyway, you can still do it anyway. But snap the bar in half, throw half out, eat half, and then have something else. You're still winning. Even though you're still having it, it's not about taking this away from you. It's about, just being a little bit more mindful about it. Does that make sense?
And you'll love this, Harley. I was sitting at my desk going, and I could hear your voice, and I was saying to myself, your voice, like in my head going, why did you join this challenge, Jody? Yeah. And because I remember you talking to me about it before, and just remind yourself why you joined the challenge, and and so like I said to Kira before, it's on, doing this every day at work, because the temptation's there, to only doing it, once a week, maybe once a fortnight. So I've made a huge improvement, but I do like what you suggest about having some other options. And, for me, chocolate is my weakness, and there's no thing, in the past, there's been no such thing as control. It's been all or nothing. So you've given me some tips there to, put in place for next time I come across this feeling.
Just to let you know, that feeling is normal. To that, like you said, you were doing this every day. So if you're only doing this 1 week, instead of having that guilty sort of mindset around it, actually treat it as a positive thing. Be like, all right, on this day, I'm going to reward myself, and this is now a reward for me. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So you can change your mindset around that.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you have emotional needs. Women, even us males, we have emotional needs. We look for these things in stressful situations, in times where we're a little bit in times that we're a little bit upset, in times that we're a little bit emotional, a little bit vulnerable. We look for these things to comfort ourselves. It's about, number one, you still want to find comfort, but you can find comfort in food, but you can also find comfort in things that actually make you feel good long term. So it's about having a balance and a mixture of the both.
Yeah. And I was kind of, instead of, normally if I'd last week and, given into chocolate or whatever, that'd be it for the afternoon. All the rest of the nutrition for the day would go out the window, where I've got from work, and I'm like, right, don't be silly about this. You've had your chocolate, you feel like crap about it, but don't blow it all. Don't just, throw everything out the window today. Get back on track tonight, So that's progress, I guess, for me.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
There'll usually be four main things that will... Yeah, it is hard to share that sort of stuff. There's usually four things that push you into emotional eating. One's boredom, one's being anxious, another one's being lonely, and another one's being tired or exhausted, fatigued.
Yep.
So those are usually the four biggest triggers will trigger you or emotionally eat or anything like that. So it's about recognizing when you are tired, all right, what do you have in place for that? When you are exhausted, all right, what do you have in place for that? When you're bored, that's probably the worst one, because that's the one that you're actually not emotional. You're just bored, and you just do it because you're bored. And usually we go, well, instead of going for a walk, I'm just going to eat. It was like me at the airport today. I was like, we got to get out of here, Beck, when our plane was delayed 4 hours. because all there was pies and all this other sort of stuff. And I'm like, I got to get out of here, because if I get bored here, I had a pie, but I was like, I'm going to have a chocolate bar, have a milk, I'll have like that, and I'll just blow out just from being bored. And bored's probably the worst one that you can actually, you can do a lot of damage, because number one, it's not just go for a walk, and number two, it's just so easy to go to the fridge. But yeah, that's my 2 cents worth. I'll leave it back to Kira. I'm going to remute myself.
That's okay.
House here, so I just thought I'd jump in.
And thank you so much again for sharing that, Jody. That actually has really given me some more leverage to be able to speak about more things. And it leads me on to my next point of be imperfect. You've all heard the saying, strive for progress, not perfection. None of us are perfect. None of us are ever going to be perfect. So throw that out the window. And what I like to say is, don't expect all of your attempts to change or your habits to become successful immediately. It's taken me many years and attempts to form new habits, but I always just tried my best to stay consistent, and I never gave up. So I would say go in with the mentality to do your best, but like I said in the beginning, to expect a few bumps along the way. All right. But Jody, you just strive for progress, girlfriend. You're going to do better tomorrow. You're going to do better next week. I'm proud of you. And so my next point, moving on, like I said, guys, I'm going to, when I upload the recording, I'm going to share these points as well, so that you can remember all of these when creating your new habits for this new lifestyle that you're creating for yourselves. And my next point is to really remind yourself. We've all spoken about our why. Jody mentioned, it was so cool. When she went to go for that chocolate bar, she was reminded of why Harley said, said all this information, and we educated you on your why, and to be really, really clear on your why. So put reminders around your house. Sometimes we wake up and we forget why we're doing what we're doing. Why are we doing this challenge? So I got myself a new whiteboard today, actually, because I've just moved house. Get yourself a whiteboard, write down your goals, put up sticky notes or whatever it is for you to keep yourself accountable and so that you remember your why every single day. When it does get tough or you are feeling tired or bored or stressed. So you need to be very, very clear on your why you're doing this. My next point that I would move on to, which I think is a really good one, is get a buddy or buddies. And that's what I love about this community and this support group that Harley's put together, because imagine if we were doing this on our own. Imagine if we didn't have a friend to call on or to help us be accountable, or Harley checking in on us every single day. I'm just where would we be? It is really, even myself or Harley, it's really important for us to have that accountability buddy so that we can check in on each other, because like I said, we're human beings. We're going to have down days. We're going to have sad days, so that's really important and something that I do recommend. So congratulations to you all for being a part of this community. And it's so awesome to have us all here together doing this as one. And so the next point that I wanted to mention, and I know a lot of therapists actually use this technique. So it's called using the word but. So a technique that they use is if you think about when you start to think of negative thoughts, use the word but to interrupt it. So for example, I'm no good at this, but if I work at it, I will get better later. So for example, if we use Jody as an example as well, I know, I may have stuffed up today and had 2 chocolate bars, but you know what? I'm a human being. It's okay. We make mistakes, and you know what? I'm going to be better tomorrow. So that's another thing that you can say to yourself to turn that negative self-talk around and continue tomorrow and being consistent in achieving your goals. So that's just another technique that you can use to tell yourself. And affirmations and words like that are really important, and they do make a massive difference. Again, I feel like I've been chatting for ages, so I'm just going to see if there's any questions in the chat section. Emotional eating, yes. How is everyone else feeling? I know we've heard from Jodes. Does anybody else have something that's happened this week, or a habit that they're aware of or they need a hand with? How are we all feeling? Does anybody else want to volunteer and jump in? Otherwise, I'll keep on going. All right, Cool. So the next point that I do have in here is, I did mention it earlier in regards to the chocolate, but it's about removing temptation. So restructuring your environment so things won't tempt you, things that you know that you are tempted by. So for example, a really simple one is by removing junk food from your house. So stocking up with really good, wholesome foods and healthy alternatives. So I love chocolate too. I love sweet things, especially after dinner. And I now, like, I will have a bit of dark chocolate, or I'll have some coconut yogurt with some fruit. So yeah, it's just removing those temptations. If I had family blocks of chocolate in my house at nighttime, I would eat them. So it's just about being smart. Okay, so my next point is associating with good people, associating with role models. So to spend more time with people who model the habits that you want to mirror. So you are who you hang around. You are who you spend your most time with. So if you hang around with people that eat chocolate five days of the week, chances are that you're going to do that too, and it's actually going to deter you from your goals. So it is really important to associate yourself with good people, and all of you are doing that, being a part of this community. And the cool thing is, like, wherever you come from, whatever is happening in your household or whatever has happened in your family in the past, like, you have the ability to, I'm actually going to mention that towards the end, but you do have the ability to be that change in your family, to be that role model for your kids or your other family members that may be struggling. So moving on, my next little tip, trick that I would like to mention is something that I think we have spoken about earlier, but it is a technique that a lot of them use in the NLP course. And this is about visualizing your habits. So visualize yourself performing a bad habit. You know, it could be eating chocolate regularly. That's not picking on you, Jodie. It's just using it as an easy example because everybody loves chocolate. So visualizing yourself performing the bad habit. Now, next, visualize yourself pushing aside that bad habit and performing an alternative. So, for example, you know, instead of going for that second chocolate bar, like, no, I'm not going to do that because I know how that makes me feel. I'm going to have this in moderation. Or, for example, on the day that you were meant to exercise and then you didn't get up that day, when you're lying there in bed, visualize yourself not exercising, not going to that class or not doing that workout that you were meant to do, and visualize how you would feel. Or visualize yourself bouncing out of bed and how good you'll feel, how good you will feel afterwards. You know that you're going to feel happier, you're going to be in a better mood, you know that you're going to have more energy for the day. So I'm a real visual person. So I think it's really important to be self-aware of your thoughts and to really visualize what's going on in your life so that you can make better choices. But my next point, we are getting to the end. I've got quite a few. We're getting right to the end. But my next one, which I believe Harley has gone through with you guys, is to write down. It's very similar to one of my points earlier. It's just write down your goals, guys. Like, I think we have gone through this. If you haven't, please do refer to the previous recordings where we write down your why and you write down your goals, because it's extremely important. If you don't even know what you're working towards. So it's very easy to fall off the bandwagon. Okay, so moving on, because I know we are running out of time. We've got just a few more minutes to go. But number 11 is knowing the benefits. So familiarize yourself with benefits of making change. So I really love this one. So continue to educate yourself. Like, get books that show you the benefits of changing your lifestyle. Get books on personal development. Get books or audios or whatever it is for you on what it's like to live a happy and healthy, balanced lifestyle. Like, continue to fill your mind and like your body and everything with things that are going to help you moving forward. Just continue to further educate yourself, because I know Harley does that every day. But if you're traveling to work, like, just also be self-motivated. You don't have to like rely on Harley for everything. Like, he is so amazing, but I would also take some responsibility for the things that you are flooding your mind. Like, I know that I'm going to watch The Bachelorette tonight, but that's the one thing that I watch. But a lot of the time I am really taking time to further educate myself on why I do the things that I do, because it keeps me going. Last 2 points. We've actually already mentioned, you know, the point of like knowing your pain. So we spoke, Jody, before about the pain of how you felt after, you know, you did something that you didn't want to do in that spur of the moment. And I've got written here that you should be aware of the consequences of this habit that you have been doing your whole life. So exposing yourself to realistic information about the downsides of not making a change will give you added motivation. So I really love this one. So for example, it's much more painful waking up, like not being happy with the way that you look and feel every day, than the pain of saying no to 5 seconds of consuming a cupcake or some chocolate or something. So like expose yourself to like that feeling. It's a scary feeling, like, you know, feeling guilty and feeling shit about yourself. Like, but you need to expose yourself to that pain so that you can actually just create a new habit and not just fall into the trap of being bored or stressed. So just, yeah, start being a little bit more mindful and knowing your triggers and everything like that. And my last point, which I love, and it is do it for you. Like, do this for yourself. Don't do this to prove a point to someone or to make someone jealous or something like that. Like, I've spoken to so many people and I've seen them all trying to create this new lifestyle for reasons other than for themselves. And it doesn't work. It's not maintainable. So I would really encourage you to really do this for yourself. It's a lot less grueling and it makes the whole process a lot more enjoyable. And like I mentioned earlier, like it doesn't matter where you've come from, where you've grown up, or anything like that. You might be like, oh, well, my mum was like this, so I'm going to be like this. Or because of these genetics in my family, I'm going to be like this. Like, that's not true. You can, I know this sounds cliche, but it is really true that you actually can be who you want to be. You can create the lifestyle that you want to create, and you can be the generational change in your family. Like, I'm completely different to the people in like my family members. My mum thinks that she took the wrong child home from the hospital, but I don't think that's the truth. I think I just decided to make a choice that I wanted more out of life. So you can do that too. And like I said, just remember your why. It's the most important thing. Why you wake up every day, remember it and use it to fuel you tomorrow and every other day. So I know, I feel like I've talked so much tonight. Like, these usually go for like 20 minutes or something, but creating new habits, like, you know, it takes a while. Like, it's not something that happens overnight. So I really hope that helped. I feel like that might have been a lot of overwhelming information, but I will actually, when I upload the recording, I will put all the points there so that you can refer back to it when you are creating these new habits. So I'm going to unmute you all. If you have anything left to say, there's a couple of minutes. You can say a minute. Thank you guys so much for having me again.
No, thanks so much, Kira. I was stressing because I was in a car and I'm like, oh my God, I'm not going to get on.
Yes, I'm here if you ever need a hand with anything. I'm here to help.
So thank you very much. That was great. For what I tuned into, that was fantastic. You nailed it.
He's not always.
My pleasure. Well, when I end, Harley, it's going to end because it's on my Zoom.
Sweet.
All right.
All sorted.
Anything they want to add or any other questions? Or we're good? All right, ladies. Well, I'm going to end it here. I hope you enjoyed that. And yeah, I will chat with you all soon. Have a great Wednesday night. Bye.
Thanks. See ya.